Boris Johnson! Boycott Beijing! Free Hong Kong!
As the forced closure of Hong Kong's largest pro-democracy newspaper casts a darker shadow on freedoms in Hong Kong, calls to boycott the Beijing Winter Olympics grow stronger.
We've all seen just this week the dismantling of democracy in Hong Kong. With this background, to send athletes to the Games will only endorse the Chinese Communist Party and their repression. And it's time our government and governments around the world stood up to the Chinese Communist Party and said they're going to boycott Beijing 2022.
Human rights campaigners from different communities came together to call for a boycott of the Games.
No to the Beijing 22 Winter Olympics.
China is accused of human rights atrocities, including forced organ harvesting from Falun Gong practitioners and a genocide against the Uyghur ethnicity. So we're here opposite Downing Street and we asked the people at this protest what a boycott of the Beijing Olympics would actually look like.
I personally don't call on the athletes to boycott the Games, but I do call on them to examine their consciences and to think about what their response to the Games should be. I understand they will have trained for a long time, and it's a hard thing to ask them not to participate, but I would ask them whether they're comfortable with their consciences in participating.
If we got, say, more than 10 democratic countries join hands to withdraw the national team, this will create a strong image or strong voices against the CCP and put immense pressure on the IOC, and this is the only way that we could move the Games from Beijing to other places.
What I think is more feasible is to brand the Games as the genocide Games so that it causes huge embarrassment to China's image.
We saw what happened in 2008 where Beijing hosted the Summer Olympics. They said they'd improve human rights, and we've only seen more repression, more torture, more crushing of democracy, more people's organs harvest, and now a new genocide happening to the Uyghur people. So it doesn't matter what that boycott looks like, it's got to happen, and it's got to happen soon.
The government has said it's not normally in favour of sporting boycotts. The Foreign Office didn't respond in time for deadline.
No Olympics! No freedom!
In the coming months, calls for a boycott will likely only get louder. Jane Warrell, NTD News, London.